All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Live from the Kingdom. My name is Paul Inman, and I appreciate you being here with us again this week, back on another Wednesday night. Thank you for joining us with these weekly live streams where we chat with special guests from Keys to the Kingdom. We get some behind the scenes stories, some sneak peeks, and some insights into the anthology, as well as anything else we want to talk about. Let me bring up my friend, my pal, and the very, very, very amazing is the word I want to use. Billy Hanson. How you doing, Billy? Welcome.
I'm feeling very, 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 very amazing today.
I'm a writer. What do you do?
Very good one too. A very, very good one.
Appreciate it, man. I don't know. Like I
but I'm
said
doing
last
great.
week, I gotta stop. I gotta start letting you do that shit. So, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. It's
You had
going
a good
good. It's
week
been a
this
good
week.
week. Yeah, it's been a productive week, an exciting week. Anytime we make more progress on this book, I'm very excited about it. Like it just feels like being being really excited about the outdoors and climbing a mountain. You know what I mean? It's like progress up this hill. It's a lot of hard work from a lot of different people, but it's exciting to see it all coming together. I know we were just talking about this beforehand, but like we're at a point now where the book is really coming together. We're starting to see it like complete for the first time, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, it is really exciting. I know that Ben Higgins is excited. How's it going, Ben? Thanks for
What's up,
showing
Ben?
up. And we have Karen over in the chat, ready for the
Hi, Karen.
sneaky peeks. You are not the only one because I am ready too. But before we get to that, let's jump in and take a look at the what do you call it? The website. I can't think of what to say. Inkshares.
The Inkshares
Inkshares.com.
website, yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, it's been a long day for me. A
Yeah,
lot of stuff going on all the time, always. You know how it is. You know how it
oh
is.
yeah.
But let's take a look. I'm going to share this. Yes, we can see that. That's fantastic. I'm going to zoom right in here, actually. So right now you can see that we have 54 days, which is a long time, yes, but in the scheme of life, it is not that long. If you have not pre-ordered, how about pre-order a book or two? Or three, so we can make this a reality. Over the course of this week, we hit 22%. 22%. Congratulations. Of our main goal. And of course, as I mentioned last week, go in and do some reading in the read section where you can see and learn about all of our authors, including tonight's guests for the Sneaky Peeks. And you can read the story log lines as they come out. They are also going to be there. So go in there and jump in. And of course, you can, whoops, well, that was the right thing to do. I just didn't mean to do it. That's what it is. And you can read a sample. And yes, before you're on my case again, Ben Higgins, there will be another sample, but you could read mine again, I guess, if you really want to. Just to bring this back up,
Yes.
54 days left. Let's make those days count, right?
Yeah, those days go by quicker than you think they're going to.
Yeah. Hey, we also have Anthony. Tony, what's up, man?
What's
How's
up,
it going?
buddy?
And Ben's little man, Adam. How's it going, Adam?
Oh, hi, Adam.
So, yeah, we do have sneaky peeks tonight. So
We do.
let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay. So this guest is a fellow Mainer, someone who also is from the very cold state of Maine. And I'll read a little bit of his bio here, but this is someone that I met. We'll talk about that when we get there. Let me read his bio real quick. DF Jester is a writer, filmmaker who loves the surreal and absurd, finding life is truly stranger than fiction. I think that's correct. He's also a dollar baby filmmaker, as are the rest of these authors, and his adaptation of One for the Road was awesome. It was awesome. He was kind enough to send it to me at one point, and I watched it, I think, 3 times in a row, and it was very cool. So yeah, let's bring him in so we could talk about all of this stuff, because this is a long list of things to talk about. Mr. DF Jester.
All right, what's up, man? And before we get into anything, yo,
Oh,
yeah, bowling. All right, how's it going, man? Appreciate
Good.
it.
Thank you for having me, Paul and Billy. Glad to be here.
Of course.
Yeah.
What I was going to talk about was the first time that you and I met, which was not at King Con like the rest of these people, but we first met.
People, yeah.
We came out to a screening of my film Bone Cold that we were doing up in Bangor, Maine, right? I think that was the first. That was the first time we met, and then, we were doing the networking thing and doing the thing that filmmakers do, which is, hey, give me a call if you need something. Yeah, let me know if you need something too, and we'll stay in touch. And then we actually did that. We stayed in touch. We have since talked several times about multiple projects. And
Bone Cold, damn good film. I mean, it was a good experience being up there, seeing that on the big screen. You see films that come out, you see them on the TV screen, or on a computer, and it just doesn't do it justice. And you see something on the big screen, and it's just so much different. And that was such a good experience to see that.
Well, thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah, I maintain that film plays a lot better to a crowd than it does to one person at a time. But that's neither here nor there. But no, I really appreciate that, and it really speaks to just the whole thing that we keep talking about with the Dollar Baby filmmakers, is just the support of each other. And like I said, we hadn't met at that point, but you came out to that screening, and that's a big deal because I can't get some of my closest friends to come out to screenings, as I'm sure we all can experience. No, I was really excited we could get you onto this project, man.
Oh, same. I'm so happy to be part of this. So excited. I love writing, and I've been writing published since 2014, and I used to write I had a blog on the Bangor Daily News, and then I was writing for magazines in New England and some anthologies, and it just kept going and going and going. And once print media started, kind of settling out, I will say, not dying, but settling out.
It's a good way to
it got a little interesting, especially like trying to write for things on the internet. But yeah, man, it's just a passion of mine. I love writing. I love telling stories. So happy to be here.
Man, let's jump into the chat real quick. We've got Karen says life is definitely stranger than fiction. Absolutely, 100%. That's what makes fact-based fiction brutal and magical. That is very true. And we have Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Thanks for being here.
What's up? Who was it that said
Lisa Loeb at first, not Lisa Loeb now?
That is Lisa Loeb. Yeah, Lisa Loeb.
I was like, oh man.
And 9 Stories are
celebrities
in the chat too.
Who was it that said that of course life is stranger than fiction because fiction has to make sense?
That's right.
I was like David Lynch or somebody like that.
I don't know, but now Billy Hanson said it in my book.
I was thinking Bad Religion, man. They had the album Stranger Than Fiction.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Love Bad Religion. Great band.
Oh yeah.
So before we get to your sneak peek, tell me a little bit about what it was like making that Dollar Baby, because it looked very cold. I'm from the South, man, and like today when I woke up, it was like 45, and I was like, I can't go outside. It's freezing. I can't.
Yeah, well, and going into the Dollar Baby, so the whole idea was to film it naturally in Maine during the winter to try and get the snowpack, because One for the Road, like, the number one thing fighting against them is the blizzard. They're trapped within the spot. And it's like my favorite movie, The Thing or Clue, the environment of where they're at causes them to have to face whatever, like the adversity, right, that they're like encountering at that moment. They have to face it. So that's what I love about One for the Road, is like the environment itself it like impedes their progress, and they have to fight against that. Yep. So I wanted in the snow, I wanted it outside, and I chose Maine. And let me tell you, man, like 1-2 weeks before we started filming, there was no snow on the ground. It was middle of February. Man. We were filming in Ellsworth, which is like, I don't know if people don't know the geography in Maine. Ellsworth is probably 6 hours north of Boston. So it's way up there. I mean, there's still more to Maine farther north than Ellsworth, but it's up there. So I expected there'd be a lot of snow on the ground, and lo and behold, there was not. And just like 3 or 4 days before we started filming, it snowed, dumped like a few feet. I was so stoked, so excited. So it was trying, we had to, like, I had to keep in mind, and, luckily my first AD was also really good about this, keeping in mind, just getting people warm, keeping the actors warm.
Yeah.
They're falling into the snow, right? And these actors, they're so tough and they're so resilient. They just didn't want to come over to me and be like, man, I need to take a break, right? Because they're falling. They're like hands first in the snow constantly, like falling down or tripping, because that's part of it. And yeah, they just didn't want to say anything. And I'm like, man, you need to tell me. Like, if you need a break, let me know. But it was trying. It was a lot of fun. Using a 2-wheel drive rear wheel van in the snow was not fun at all. That caused some complications, but overall, it was a great experience. It was a great 5 days of filming.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome.
I mean, Billy, you know about it because you did the same thing. Like, you guys are troopers. I was like, man, I'm supposed to pretend in the King adaptation I did, it's supposed to be Florida. And I was like, no, we're not. It's too hot. We did it. We shot it in December and kids were on the beach freezing. And I was like, you guys are troopers. I'll buy you some ice cream. And they're like, no, it's cold.
Just bring us some hot tea. That's all we need, really.
That's right. That's right. But they were troopers. I mean, that was the point. And when I say it was freezing, it was below freezing, but it was not Maine, so but it was definitely cold that day. And I felt a little bad because right on the beach, it's windy, man. It's super windy,
Yeah. When you get to those icy weather, those icy temperatures, the gear doesn't work the same. The batteries go out like this. Wow, and some of the equipment just doesn't work. You just have to keep it warm. And it's very strange. The lav mics just wouldn't work sometimes. Mm-hmm. You get them warm again and they're fine. But it just wreaks havoc on a film production.
Good to know.
I have to say, though, I was really lucky. We were filming the one scene in the film where they use flares, and again, like it's kind of like an homage to the thing. Mm-hmm. And it just started like big, chunky, wet snowflakes. It just started like snowing like crazy for that like 5 hours of filming after dark. And it was perfect. It created this like beautiful ethereal atmosphere, right? It was like this diaphanous mist around as they were using the flares. So like we took full advantage of it. But of course, again, everybody was freezing. It was like snowing on them. Their hair was getting wet. We had to bring them back inside, like dry off the hair, bring them back. But man, like I couldn't have asked for better conditions. And the funny thing is, it almost turns into a dream sequence because before, when they run into the woods, there's no snow. Then they go into the woods, it's snowing, they're using flares, and then they come out of the woods and it's not snowing anymore. And it's because it was filmed on 2 different nights.
That worked.
But no one questions it. I've asked a lot of people, like, did you notice that there's this like, there's a continuity error, and everyone's like, no, we thought you meant for it to be like that. I'm like, all right, perfect.
That's why I was saying it worked. If that's what you were going for, I didn't realize.
That's what we call director's intent. Yeah.
you know. All right, so we talked about some films. Let's talk about some books. Mm-hmm. So we've got a sneak peek and an exclusive title reveal and logline. Would you like to do the honors? Of course you would. That's why you're here.
Of course.
So let's bring it up on the screen and go ahead and let the people know.
Yeah. So Wendy is a book about when a female hitchhiker is picked up on a lonely stretch of road at night, and she and the driver discover what each hungers for. It
so awesome. I love that.
Man, it was great writing it. It was so much fun.
So my assumption, and I'm speaking as the audience here, the assumption is that Wendy is this female. Is that correct?
Yes. So Wendy is the female that gets picked up, and the driver has his own motives and she has her own motives, and both don't know until they reveal it. And at that point, when they each reveal it, they've already compromised themselves that they're stuck in that position and they must get out.
Yes. I think that is a very, very good way to say stuff without saying stuff. Very good at your double speak, sir. So let's talk about the process, though. Like, we're pulling back the curtain here. Like, we want everybody, of course, everybody's going to buy and read all the stories. But let's talk about how what was your inspiration? Like, where did this kind of come from, this story of Wendy?
So I love taking, so my master's was American New England Studies. So I love folklore. My actual undergrad was folklore when I went to the University of Maine in Orono in 1999.
Nice.
So I learned a lot of stories, a lot of old myths, a lot of legends, and I like to take elements from those and tweak them and put them into modern day. But I also like to take, elements from different stories and legends and then put a spin on it and develop it. And I'm not saying it's like a Circe or a Song for Achilles. What I'm talking about is, pluck little things and then create a creature around that. Take these elements and create a story behind that. What if you were trapped and this person could do this? Or what if this person could do that? And that's where I find a lot of my inspiration for my stories. Actually, if anybody is ever curious, the University of Maine in Orono had a folk life library. The Library of Congress has it now, but there's recordings that Sandy Ives took from the North Woods in Maine. Quite interesting stuff there.
Oh, that's very cool.
That is really cool. So before we started the stream, you were kind of telling us the process of how this story, the iterations, I guess, if you will, of the story. Share a little bit of that, of how that worked for you.
Yeah, so I have a habit of just when I have a flash in the pan kind of idea, I write it down immediately. I like to write instead of type, so I pull out my journal, write it out, and then I start to write any ideas that come to me as fast as possible before I lose that. And then I start coming up with questions that I need to answer and questions that I believe the audience would have for me as well. And once I can answer those questions, I can start to develop those as story ideas as well, or like plot lines in the story. Because for me, it's, if someone comes up and goes, well, why is it like this? Right? Then I didn't explain it well enough. Or why can this vampire walk around in the daytime? By the way, there are no vampires in my story, but why can they? And it's like, okay, well, this is why, right? I would have to answer that. I'd have to solve that equation. So I do that, and I like to come up with all those questions, but I just throw everything down on the page immediately. And then from there, I'll write it out, I'll draft it, I'll send it to a friend who's a reader. She'll usually, read it for me, and I read some of her work. And then, from there, she'll, give me some developmental edits, and then we go back and forth. And then what I did this time was, by the time I got to the second full draft, I just rewrote it. Like I had the developmental edits, I had the ideas, I had the line edits, and I just decided to take all that stuff and rewrite it in a POV that felt really comfortable for me. Because at that point, like, I lived the story, I knew the story was me, and I'm part of it. Like, I'm seeing the story as I write it. I don't have an inner monologue. I know that's like 50% of the population has an inner monologue. I don't have inner dialogue. I don't have inner monologue. So I see, I'm a visual thinker, and that's how so I actually have to like develop a narrative voice. I have to actually create one. I have to invent it for a story. Like I am actually listening to a podcast or an Audible book. It's insane. That's how I operate. I don't know what that says about me. It's like serial killer.
That feels so foreign to me, because I'm on the other side of that. I'm like, whoa, that's an interesting concept overall. But anyway, I don't mean to interrupt. But I did want to throw this up here. Karen says, my son is in Mass. We lived in the Catskills for years. I like what I'm hearing.
I'm from New York originally, so I grew up on Long Island, and I visited the Catskills a lot when I was a kid. So favorite place of mine. Really creepy up there too.
That's nice. Really awesome. Yeah, your method there is definitely different than my own personal method, but there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's many ways to get from A to Z. You don't have to always do it the same as everybody else.
To give you an idea,
please.
To give you an idea, I did almost 9 versions of One for the Road, and eventually I just rewrote everything on the last script. I just rewrote it, and that was the one I went with. So it's a little weird, but it works.
That's honestly like the best way to do it. Once you've got 9 drafts of changes and tweaks and like little shifting things around and time swaps, and it's probably best just to like set it aside, say, I know what it is, let me just hammer it through again, and that way you find all the other new stuff in there. And yeah, I feel like my process is probably somewhere between you guys. So yeah, there's a broad spectrum of the way we all get these stories out.
Exactly, and that's what makes this book really exciting in my opinion. Like, there's so many different ways that things are coming at you, and there's different ideas and different people's perspectives, and it's just super exciting. I'm so stoked. I say this every single stinking week, and it's probably annoying, but I'm so excited about this. It's really cool. One more quick thing before we start to wrap it up here, because we're over 20 minutes and we're trying to keep these reasonable bites, right, for people.
Understood.
You are doing a film and beer centric podcast. Is that correct?
Yes. So the editor
a little bit about that.
Yeah. So the editor for One for the Road and myself, so Roger Cropley II, who Billy knows. So we started doing a film and beer centric podcast. We've probably filmed about 5 episodes. Some we're going to need to split, in like 2 segments. But yeah, we've created a library now, so we'll start putting those out there. We didn't want to like just drop one and then let it linger and hang. So we filmed a bunch, and it's just us talking about, a lot of times, people that made dollar babies, people that have worked in film, and also what are their favorite films, what do they think about certain films, and also we drink beer and maybe get drunk by the time at the end of the show. Maybe we're not making so much sense when we get to the fun questions at the end, but that's the whole fun of it, right? You just don't know what's going to happen. One person chose like a 9% beer, an 8% beer, and a 13% beer. It was chaos by the end.
Oh God.
It was not good. So
maybe it was great. Maybe it was not good, but it was great. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It was the best song I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
All right, so let's.
The last 20 minutes is just everyone like this.
So let's take a look at your story one more time. Go ahead and recount it one more time for everybody watching.
Yeah. So, Wendy, when a female hitchhiker is picked up on a lonely stretch of road at night, she and the driver discover what each hungers for.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good. I'm excited for everybody to read it. Let's go ahead and take a look. If you want to follow any of us on social media, it's right down there. Billy, you got anything that you want to shout out this week? Attaboy, Billy.
Oh,
anything that you're pushing? You're always pushing stuff, right? Hey,
I've always got. This is the thing I'm pushing the most right now.
That's right.
So if you haven't pre-ordered yet, there's still plenty of space and plenty of ways to go. And if you've already pre-ordered, keep talking about it. I have seen a lot of. I'm catching up with a lot of old friends lately, and almost every one of them has been like, "Oh, I saw your thing about the book. Like, that sounds really cool." So people are doing a good job talking about it. Just we keep it up, and that's the request for the week.
Yeah, there you go. Do you? So I want to call you not DF, but I'm going to call you DF. So is there anything DF that you want to push out there?
Yeah, I mean, same, right? I really want to, kind of impress the audience that we really want to, get these pre-order sales, moving and up there. And, to anyone that's listening, sharing anything like this is great on your social media. Like I'm an older person, just like the two of these guys, and you pick up a phone, you call. You don't
easy.
You don't have to text first. You can call. That's what phones are for, right? So you don't need to ask me to share something. There's a share button. Share it. Like it. Post it on your social media. Spread the word. Just get it out there.
Yeah. And we're also getting to a point now where we've got a lot of these live streams that you can go back and see. There's a lot of information out there for the authors and the stories that are out there. So you've got a pretty healthy, a pretty good sized amount of information that you can see about the book now. It's really coming together for everyone on that Inkshares page. Paul's done a really good job laying it all out for everyone. So yeah, go through, dig around, explore, and share pieces of it, share all of it.
Yeah. And, speaking of these live streams, we will be back next Wednesday, and we are going to have writer-director Chris Etheridge on the show. And I'm super excited about that. Make sure you're here next Wednesday. And again, if you want to follow any of us right down there, you absolutely can. Until next time, for DF Jester, Billy Hanson, my name is Paul Inman. We appreciate you so much. Checking the chat one more time. I just like go back to bowling. Yo. And we will see you very soon next Wednesday. Hey, ask somebody to buy the book this week. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.